Okay, let's read another book. This one's called Honeybee. One summer morning, deep in the nest, a brand new honeybee squirms, pushes, chews through the wax cap of her solitary cell, and into a teeming, trembling flurry. Mmm, honeybee, the busy life of the Apis mellifera. Tongues lick, antennae touch, bodies clamber and scramble over thin wax comb. The new bee rests, soft, fuzzy, and female, like all newly emerged worker bees. Her scientific name is Apis mellifera, or Apis for short. Crawling to a cell packed with sticky, rich pollen, Apis eats and eats and eats some more. Her wings dry, her color darkens to a warm yellow-orange. Her muscles grow strong. Strong enough for flying? Not yet. Cleaning comes first. Apis' first job is to tidy the hive's nursery. She hauls away the leftover bits, carts off the old wax caps, leaves each cell ready for a new bee egg. When she turns 3 days old, special glands behind her face will swell and expand. Soon she is ready for her next job. Flying? Flying? Not yet. Nursing. The grub like larvae all get her attention. She checks them, inspects them, feeds them milky sweet liquid made with those glands. On the eighth day of life, she leaves the nursery. For flying? Not yet. For queen tending. Long and graceful, the queen glides across the combs. 2,000 times a day, the queen stops to drop a single egg into each cell. Pearly white, half the size of a grain of rice, each will grow into a bee. The queen doesn't have time to take care of herself, so Apis and the others groom her with the forelegs, examine her with their tongues, feed her a drop of sweet brewed food, worker mouth to queen mouth. As they do, they pick up the queen's scent with their antennae, legs, tongues. They pass the scent along the rest of the nest, a message that the queen is healthy and safe. When the apis turns 12 days old, glands in her abdomen begin making flakes of white wax. It's time for her new job. Flying? Not yet. Comb building. Using her wax, her sharp spoon shaped jaws, and her legs, she shapes, she molds, she maneuvers to create cells. But Apis is not a builder for long. 3 days later, she starts flying? Not yet. Food handling. Apis stands on her soft honeycomb waiting. A forager bee approaches, dusted with pollen and smelling of sunshine and fresh air. She is loaded with nectar, food for the colony. Apis creeps towards her, furry heads bump, and a forager brings up the nectar into her open mouth, sticking out like a straw tongue. Apis slips up the nectar. She unfolds she folds and unfolds, folds and unfolds her mouth until the nectar grows thicker and thicker and stickier. She stores half the dried nectar into an empty cell. Over the next few days, it will ripen into honey. When the apis turns 18 days old, she is ready to start her life outside. Flying? Not yet. Guarding. Guarding against birds or bears or Winnie the Pooh and bees from other nests, patrolling in a tiny patch by the hive's entrance. Apis sniffs each incoming worker with her antenna, friend or foe, friend or foe. Two bees hover by. Apis bends her antenna towards them and tests the air. They do not smell like a member of her colony. She stands on her hind legs. They do not act like other members. Apis lets off an alarm sent to warn the other rubber bees, rubber robbers, rubber bees. They come to steal honey from the nest. Apis flings herself at one of them. The two grab a hold of each other's legs. They curl their abdomen and roll and grapple. Apis buzzes, bites, burrows. She's willing to give up her life to protect her nest and its honey. She bites harder, shaking her off. The robber flies away. At last, on the 25th day of her life, with the sun just rising and the dew still drying, she leaps from the nest and flies. Thousands of other bees rise from the nest too, first to orient themselves and then to forage for water and collect sticky plant sap called propolis, a kind of bee glue, or gather pollen. In Apis, she is in search of sweet nectar. Her antenna tastes the breeze, milkweed, coneflower, clover. She can smell the sugary goodness inside their blossoms. Apis follows the floral odor for miles, wings beating 200 times a second, until she circles down, she aligns on a blossom, she scrabbles over its petals, searching for the nectar inside, poking her long tongue deep inside the flower. She sips and swallows, and skips to the next flower. The sugary fluid does not go into her belly, it goes into a special sac called a honey stomach. This is how the apis will carry the nectar home. And she visits each flower. Grains of pollen stick to her bushy body. They cling to her bristly legs. She carries this pollen from flower to flower, brushing it off, picking it up, pollinating the field. At last, her honey stomach weighs as much as she does. Then, wings working hard, she flies back to the hive, where she gives up the nectar to the food handler. Now, will she rest? No, she will dance. Waggling her tail, Apis circles to the left and then to the right. She runs along in a straight line. Other bees gather around. They listen to the vibrations of her dance. Apis is given directions. She's telling them the nectar is sweet. She's asking them to go there too. Soon a stream of bees head to find. Apis makes 9 more trips that day, gathering, pollinating, before sun finally sets and she can rest. But she will go back tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. She grows thinner and slower. She loses her hair. Her wings fray and tatter. Summertime bees do not live long, and Apis is now 35 days old. She has flown back and forth between the nest and blossom 500 miles in all. She has visited 30,000 flowers and has collected enough nectar to make 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey. Her work is done. On the morning Apis drops to the ground. The air is warm, the sun is rising, and the nectar is sweet. She rolls to her back, her legs move limply, her wings beat weakly. Above her, blossoms nod in the summer breeze. Apis stills. And back at the nest, a brand new honeybee squirms, pushes, chews through the wax cap of her solitary cell into a teeming, trembling flurry. Mm. And this is the life cycle of a honeybee. One little bee makes 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey. So don't waste the honey. She worked so hard to make it with her team. Good night.